Hello, welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. We're so thankful for the rain that fell in western Kansas, but we also know some folks experienced hail as well as some flooding, and so our thoughts are with you in the cleanup process, and we wish you all a speedy recovery. On the program today, South Dakota Senator John Thune talks about what might be in the Senate's version of the Farm Bill. Also, Tom Sleight from the U.S. Grains Council will talk about why U.S. agriculture commodities are still a hot item around the world. And John Bode from the Corn Refiners Association talks about some of those challenges on the farm right now and some possible regulatory reductions going on Capitol Hill. Plus, some reports from the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Department of Agriculture, and our weekly features from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors. Stay with us. You're watching the Kansas Ag Report.
Closed captioning brought to you by the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org. Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Welcome back. The House is scheduled to do a second vote on the Farm Bill on 22nd day of June. The Senate now getting ready to act on theirs. John Thune, longtime member of the House and now Senate Agriculture Committees, talked about what he would like to see in the Senate version of the Farm Bill.
In terms of the elements of the bill, we've been very involved as the Senate has started to consider this in putting some ideas out there. Today we are dropping my 10th bill provision. These are all bills that are designed to be incorporated into the final Farm Bill. This one has to deal with the commodity title, the ARC program in particular, which was the program of choice for most of the growers in our part of the country that raise wheat and corn and beans. And it's not effective today because of the price circumstances that we're in. So we've got to look at how we can modify that particular program and make it work in today's agriculture. And so we've made some changes in it, or proposed some changes in it, which we hope we can get adopted in the Senate version of the bill. They didn't have any of these in the House bill. The House bill relies exclusively in the commodity title of the bill on the PLC program, which uses a reference price, provides price protection. But the thing about the ARC program that many of our growers like is it provides not just price protection but revenue protection. And so if you have production losses in tough years, then it also allows for provides some safety net protection against that. So as we look at the Farm Bill, of course, crop insurance, number one. Everybody wants a good crop insurance program. That's been really the cornerstone of our farm policy now for the past several Farm Bills. And it works way better, believe me, than it did when I was over here in the House and we didn't have a good crop insurance program. We ended up doing these ad hoc emergency disaster programs every few years, and those were multi-billion-dollar programs. Crop insurance allows farmers, with some help, but to buy a coverage plan that works for them and that provides that baseline protection in a bad year. And then you complement it with some of the commodity Title I safety net provisions that we have in the bill, and I think it works pretty well.
That's South Dakota Senator John Thune. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here, the time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Well, recently we caught up with Tom Sleight, the CEO of the U.S. Grains Council. And as we know, commodity prices have been fluctuating a lot recently, but they're still a hot commodity around the world.
Well, yeah, we're up for the work, bring it on, Ken. That's why I say yes. I mean, demand still continues to grow all around the world. The drivers for demand are in place. Nothing's changed there. The growth of the world middle class, the growth of economies in general creates a strong market for U.S. agriculture.
What is the story you tell our foreign buyers with what's going on over here between the tweets from the president and others that seemingly we're maybe not giving them the exact same message?
Well, I think we focus on U.S. competitiveness and the fact that we've been there in those markets for a long, long time, and we have an interest in their futures. Yes, we have a little problems in Mexico with that sort of stuff, but I think other places around the world, it's business as usual. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let's help work together how we can meet their feed grain needs.
Have there been questions about what this crop might be? There's been a lot of discussion on this side of the battle for acres. I'm sure that's going to be a big concern for those that want to buy U.S. grains.
Well, sure, Ken. We only like to have a year-round conversation with our buyers, updating them on what the crop looks like, the progress of the crop, the planting season, in terms of harvest, all this kind of thing. Constant year-round discussion. We always tell them that U.S. agriculture and U.S. farmers have been known to put that crop in the ground really quickly. And so right now we're reminding them of that fact, and reminding them of the extreme competitiveness of U.S. farmers and their ability to react quickly.
Our area, wheat, we've been waiting for moisture that hasn't come, but we know wheat is very much a global crop, but we still hear that the best quality still comes from the U.S.
Sure, yes, it does. I mean, we don't work in wheat, but our friends in the U.S. Wheat Association, I know that's what they sell, and I know that they do a good job of it.
As we look, NAFTA looks to be wrapped up. Are you pleased with what you've heard about the negotiations taking place?
Yeah, so far, the chapters that are most important to U.S. agriculture, particularly sanitary and phytosanitary barriers, things like biotech access, things like that, the progress is there. I think it's the rest of the stuff, the auto stuff that gives us a little bit of concern, and plus dispute resolution. We still want to see how that comes out in the final version.
Last thing, China is one that is the market for so many U.S. commodities. How's that relationship still working from your standpoint and your staff that's there? It's
been tough. No question about it. It's been a tough relationship. We've been working there since 1982. I've been myself involved with China since 1983. It's been a long partnership we've had in trying to grow together, like I said earlier, grow together as agricultural economies. Right now, we're in a really tough period where we're throwing trade arrows at each other, very unpleasant. but again, the people we talk to, our customers, they want to have the same thing in mind as we do. Let's get this thing settled out. Let's get these trade agreements, nailed out. Let's get these frictions soothed over, because we both want to continue our growing businesses.
That's Tom Sleight from the U.S. Grains Council. Stay with us. More show coming up. It's the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Well, John Bode serves as CEO of the Corn Refiners Association. He spends a lot of time in the nation's capital and on the Hill. We talked about some of the challenges facing farm country, as well as working on some of the deregulation to help those farms.
You bet, Ken. You know, with farm income at a 16-year low, this is no time to fool around. And it's farmers, but also it's more broadly our economy. There's a new study that shows that American agriculture is a major driver for our economy, and 1 in 5 American jobs is ag-related.
Well, it seems like as we go from seemingly the daily news, we're one way, then we're another, then we're back again. What's the mood like here in D.C.? Because it's one thing to make a deal, it's an entirely other situation to have a trade pact.
I think that's just the point, Ken. We need to get NAFTA resolved. The negotiations need to be concluded. We're very pleased that seems to be coming along, and then we're eager to see what that deal is. We feel good that we're not going to lose any market access. We'd love to see some gains in market access in agriculture, but we also need the procedures that protect our market access to be in place.
Market access, one of those that was highlighted in the House version of the Farm Bill, has to make you feel good that at least one side realizes the importance of active participation.
I'm thrilled that Congress broadly is very concerned about being supportive of American agriculture. And I think we've never seen more support on both sides of the aisle for agriculture trade. And we need to now turn that into some positive results that can get to really building those markets and get farm income up.
The Environmental Protection Agency, many had thought with the change in administration be very favorable towards agriculture. There's been some concern, not only from the producer standpoint, from some of the biofuels, and maybe from some of your membership. How confident are you that EPA will work well with agriculture?
I think it's going to be issue by issue. Clearly, there's been a lot of disappointment with some of the things that have happened in ethanol. There's further work to do, and the president talked about that week before last, making some further changes. But I'm thrilled with the work that's happening on the waters of the U.S. The truth is, the regulations, the regulatory burden out of EPA has been crippling for America's economy and agriculture in particular. One of the issues that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but it's certainly of concern to us, is there is a policy on carbon emissions at EPA that actually discriminates against crop-based carbon. So when you refine corn, or you brew beer, or you bake bread, it gives off carbon. And that they are imposing very heavy regulatory burdens associated with that prevent us from expanding our operations or building new ones. We believe that there is a fantastic opportunity to replace petrochemicals with bioplastics.
That's our friend John Bode with the Corn Refiners Association. We'll have more Kansas Ag Report coming up. Stay with us.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm and Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergence, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm and Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
Runoff from precipitation events is a source of nutrient loading, contributing to aquatic conditions that promote harmful algal blooms within Milford Lake. Runoff also erodes soil, which ends up in waterways and is transported downstream, eventually contributing to sedimentation in the lake. To improve water quality conditions within the Milford Lake watershed, the Kansas Water Office recently received $2.88 million from the Natural Resources Conservation Service Regional Conservation Partnership Program. Milford Lake supplies water to several utilities and cities that serve nearly 1 million Kansans, more than 1/3 of the state's population. The frequency of HABs in the lake over the years has stakeholders worried about public water supplies and the ability to provide safe, potable water. The project will implement livestock and cropland-related conservation practices within the watershed to decrease nutrient runoff and erosion. It also will improve fish and wildlife habitat, provide better soil health, test innovative phosphorus reduction technology, and support future agricultural productivity. One of the largest efforts undertaken within the Milford Lake watershed, the project unites the partners and NRCS to implement conservation practices. KWO is the lead partner with 28 other entities contributing. The Kansas Soybean Commission is on the partnership team. For more information, visit kwo.ks.gov on the web.
The Kansas Department of Agriculture works to strengthen and expand the economic impact of Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses. One significant area for potential growth is in the international market. I'm Suzanne Ryan Numerick, the International Trade Director at KDA, and I can help you market your business overseas. From assisting with your overall marketing strategy, to hosting foreign buying teams, to leading industry-specific trade missions, both to trade shows and exhibitions, and directly to buyers. Throughout the past year, KDA participated in international marketing activities around the world, including Sorghum in the 21st Century in South Africa, Pet Food Forum in China and Thailand, and several livestock genetic missions to South America and Australia. With the assistance of grants and cost-share opportunities, we can make a lasting and valuable impact in our connections across the globe. The second half of 2018 will bring even more opportunities to expand Kansas agriculture exports. We plan on strengthening our ties with livestock genetics in Costa Rica, Argentina, and Uruguay. Kansans will also be visiting Vietnam and Ukraine to have a better understanding of aquaculture feed and agriculture markets. If you would like to talk about international marketing, contact me at KDA or visit our website directly at agriculture.ks.gov/international. You'll find details about upcoming opportunities and an export resource guide that can help you access documents and organizations which provide information and assistance in international trade.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here. The time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Service Agency officials have made a request for approval of emergency grazing on Conservation Reserve Program acres during the designated nesting season, which runs April 15th to July 15th in Kansas. The Kansas CRP Subcommittee of the State FSA Technical Committee, which includes ag organizations, conservation and wildlife groups, and state wildlife officials, recently met by conference call and endorsed the Kansas FSA plan urging USDA to open CRP acres for emergency grazing prior to July 15 and as early as possible. This request is for authority to graze CRP in counties that have been in the D4 or exceptional drought category on the U.S. Drought Monitor map anytime during 2018. Contiguous counties would be included as well. As of May 22nd, the Drought Monitor showed 47% of the state was still experiencing severe to exceptional drought. In addition, Kansas FSA is requesting approval of early CRP grazing in Ellis, Rice, and Stanton counties due to the impact of significant wildfires in March. CRP parcels enrolled as CP25, which is designated as declining habitat, were not included in the request for early release and emergency use of CRP. The Kansas Livestock Association sent a letter to Kansas FSA officials in late May supporting the request to USDA.
Good morning, I'm Darren Van Vactor with Paragon Ag. As we continue throughout this growing season, regardless of what you grow, the market has given us opportunities as it tends to do. Lots of times we see profitable prices, but they tend to come when we don't have a good handle on production. It makes it easier to ignore these prices when we have the excuse of unknown production, so we wait. The problem with this line of thinking is at some point production will be known and price may or may not still be profitable. This complacency and indecision can hamstring all kinds of producers. Sure, you can sell a little cash here and there, but we tend to stay small for the very real fear of short production or the fear we'll miss out on even higher prices. Maybe you sold too much too early and now it's hot and dry and or prices are moving on up. These situations are going to persist year on year. $4 cash corn and $10 cash beans sound great as long as we have the second part of the equation, production. We'll not know what production looks like until harvest. Unfortunately, we tend to see our higher prices in the harder growing season. No matter your operational situation, there are strategies available to protect profitable levels when they arise, specifically before harvest. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach as operations are unique. If you want some help in finding the best strategy to fit your operation, we'd be happy to help. Give us a call here at Paragon Ag Advisors. I'm Darren Van Vactor. Be safe and have a great week.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us by going online to kansasagreport.net or on Facebook and Twitter. On next week's show, Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue spent a couple of days in Kansas this past week. We'll have reaction and comments from him and others as he talked with folks involved in Kansas agriculture, even spent some time with some of the kids in the Kansas FFA program. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you next week.
Closed captioning brought to you by the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org. Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm and Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm and Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here. The time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.